Alright, so today we are doing a photo shoot with the lady of the hour, Lindsay Shaw. That's her. She did it. She won stuff. Okay, so we're gonna do a photo shoot. Not because she won, but because I love her. Anyways, alright, I'm gonna show you this quick little setup here. Got this nice little space in our attic here, cozy little setup. I was gonna set up in our living room, and we have this completely open space that we're not using for anything yet. Yeah, anyways. And I felt kind of silly because I was like, oh, I could have had this set up forever ago. Pretty simple concept. She just sent me some the inspirational photos, was just kind of white backdrop, like in a studio. Yeah, nothing like too crazy, nothing like too complex, like lighting wise or like stylization wise. It's more like the vibe and the style, right? So like the edit itself is gonna be like very like gritty, grainy photos. And real quick, so I'm using a aperture 600D. This space is pretty small. You don't really need this big of a light ever for a space this small, but it's what I had, so it's the other one I had, so that's what I wanted to use. And then what's nice about the more powerful lights is it's still daytime right now, and so it's kind of bright in this room. So I'm gonna like stop down in camera, or maybe even have to throw my ND filter on. But what's cool about these lights is that because we're inside, they'll be able. I could turn their intensity up to basically counterbalance the light outside, to have to turn my camera settings up or make it darker, and eventually just make that ambient light go away. So yeah, so starting with that 600C, have a spotlight attachment on it. I have this 300C that is gonna be kind of I just kind of want like a bounce fill, more focused on the background, and it kind of just, you know, it gives that separation from the background. Basically her being in front of the you know, backdrop kind of here. Like this won't actually be hitting her. It'll just kind of be hitting the back, bouncing over here. The spotlight will be like doing something across her face, or wherever I want to position it. I'll mess with that a bunch. And then this light is doing the main work, which is just another 300C. That's doing like the main kind of like fill. It's technically it is my key light, right? So that's basically, this is acting as my key light. I want it to just be a really soft bounce. I might have to switch this out to just maybe just like a softbox or something else, but it's not doing what I want it to do. I'll probably just bounce everything for 5600, just because this 600D is that way. I'm either gonna do that, or I'm gonna change these to super warm and basically just let this be white basically instead of what it is. So we'll see. I just have to wait till once Lindsay gets up here and we start like messing with the lighting a little bit, then I'll be able to dial it in a little bit more. But yeah, that's kind of the general idea. Basically my concept, I basically just explained it, but concept is, yeah, have this light kind of bounce up, key light on her face. This light is gonna make like there's always gonna be like, because I have some gobos too, so if I wanna do some patterns or whatever else, have something go across her face, and then this back here will, you know, do that separation, kind of just create a cool background. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And then I'm controlling everything, why I like aperture stuff so much, at least for the prosumer, you know, market. See, I don't think I can focus. Anyways, I'm using the Sidus app. I have my 3 lights all connected here. So, you know, I want to change this light over here. You know, it's the brightness real quick. I can just do it on my phone. I don't have to, you know, mess with all that manual shit. So, all right, we're gonna do this probably really soon. Let's go. All right, first outfit done. I think we're gonna do 2 more outfits. But yeah, I think the setup's pretty dope. Probably gonna play with a few other lighting setups and whatever with these next few, but we'll see. So figure it out. All right. We're all wrapped up. Time to edit these bitches. I'm really happy with how everything came out. Yo, what up my peoples? So I totally forgot to record any of me actually working on the photos, so I'm just gonna walk through kind of my process and what I did. So anyways, let's get to it. We did 3 different outfits, you know, same backdrop, same set, same lighting for like 2 of them. And then I kind of came up with 2 different looks and I couldn't decide, so I just did one look for the first outfit, another look for the second outfit. It's a little bit cooler, and then more of a split tone, and then the last one I went just entirely different, um, and went more was more trying to mess with the color grade in post. Yeah, so this is one of the photos. Here's the before. It's very like curated for like a tone and mood that I was like going for, right? Like these are completely different like images, right? So, but also like I did it all in Lightroom. Like I didn't go to Photoshop for any of this. Like on these particular ones, I didn't really feel one, I didn't really feel the need to, but two, I also wanted to kind of push myself to like really nail it in Lightroom without feeling the need to like go to another software. If that makes any sense. I built all these, I built this look from scratch, right? So this look was built from scratch, and then all the other ones were built from scratch too. Because I, I have so many, I have so many presets, but I would say just now have a very strong understanding of like color and like how to like manipulate it and use the tools in the programs. And you'll see with photos, and I think especially with photos when you're dealing with raw photos, like photos are very forgiving with like pushing them. Like they're very like if you kind of have an idea of what you're going for, the look you're going for, like photos I feel like really reward pulling all the levers, whereas like video and color grading doesn't as much. And again, it depends on like the vibe that you're going for or whatever else. But you'll see in like I do this in most of my editing processes unless I'm doing more commercial work or something like that. I typically have like a very complex kind of like I don't know if complex is the right word, but I'm kind of going through almost all of these different panels, right? So let me actually like dive in now before I just like talk forever and never actually like look into this. So honestly, dude, I pretty much always go down here first and just like adjust these. I like literally just come down here and move them over. And depending on like if I want less warmth, I might adjust this a little bit. Like this is gonna give my reds a little more pop, right? So again, like just understanding like what this is doing, it's like shifting one of your hues towards like more of like a different hue basically. So like yeah, it's basically shifting hues. And then down here I always pull this one this way. And this one's actually like the one that I pretty much always desaturate because it makes the skins just so um like it makes the skins so orange, and so a little bit of desaturation I always really like for that. um this isn't, I don't do this till the end, but since we're down here, um these are my grain settings for this. I was really happy with like, wow, that didn't zoom in at all. What I really looked for when I was looking for my grain too is I wanted the like especially the blacks areas, I really wanted them to like feel just very vintage and whatever. Um and so that's why I had the grain settings. Like I was looking for the grain settings, and that was the thing too. Is I was really looking at details too. So I had it at like 60 before, which I think is fine. I think it still looks good here, right? But I didn't like how much sharpness it was taking out of some of the parts of the image, and 50 still for me, right, was just a little too much. I was really looking at like this glint in her eye. And when I felt like that was just a little too like gone for me, the strands of her hair, like um when they start to get a little too like blurred for me, like that's when I start to like be like, okay, that was like the moment for me. That's basically the little things I was looking for on my grain to like find the grain that I was looking for. And then really, and honestly the best way to check it is once you do that is just to like either like export this photo, look at it real quick on your phone, and then just tweak it and adjust it a little bit. Because I mean, we all know that's basically what we're looking at it on. We're probably going to be looking at it on. And so if it looks good on there, then you've kind of nailed the color you're going for. The last little technical thing to my sharpening. I always pretty much, this is another one that I kind of just like pull up. I usually go to 80. I do the radius at 1.1, and then I do my detail around 40. Um, and that's pretty much always what I do. And then my denoise as well. I always do a denoise, and I just do it at 20. It's for me, it's just like the denoise, the AI denoise has gotten so ridiculously good. And the thing is I'm not trying to go through and individually like look at every single image to see like if it needs noise, especially if I'm just like doing a lot of photos. So it's like this is just like a great blanket look. It does way good enough job at getting rid of enough of the noise, right? And then it looks great. Then the grain on top of it looks even better. Okay, so circling back to here, so this is where we start. We pull these little levers, and yeah, that kind of gives us our little base. I covered kind of the little effects that we do at the end here, um, and yeah, so going back here to the top, so I pretty much don't change my white balance when I shoot my photos most of the time because I'm gonna change it in here anyways. Um, and so I adjust my white balance, I get my tint right, and then got my exposure. I don't do my contrast here. I just do it here. Obviously, I can use this still if I wanted to adjust it, but you have to understand this is just an S curve contrast. So basically, if it's like if I was moving this out, like this, and yeah, like I mean, pretty much what it just did. Um, but yeah, so you're basically just doing an S curve. So highlights, I have my shadows pull all the way up and my blacks all the way down. So this is something that I've recently been doing that I really like how it looks. So shadows kind of pull down. It pulls down all of it pulls down like the bottom half. So it literally says it right here. So it's pulling down, this chunk, whereas your blacks are kind of they're adjusting like how like how dark your darkest points are, right? And I've really been like I've seen it a lot on social media, but I've also seen it just in like photographers and other people's works that I like a lot. And I think it's also just a part of like film emulation, but just like super dark black, super crushed. And it just looks so like I don't know, especially with like darker skin tones, it just looks so beautiful. So um it's a style that I was trying to emulate a little bit here, but it's also like I don't know, this is the best like look I've seen to it because the shadow pulls up, it spreads out all of this, right? As much as possible. But my blacks obviously you're gonna bring it back down, right? But when I bring my blacks all the way down, you can see on the histogram like what it's doing. And it's just like I just love how it ends up looking, and I love how like I like the vibe, right? I love how this looks. I love how this just fades into darkness. I love how it looks with the grain, like how good the grain looks on top of it, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much just how I did my basic exposure and adjustment. Now, this is where a lot of the magic happened. I adjusted my really brought down this again, like trying to emulate that kind of high the filmish vibe, right? Of for these photos. Raise my blacks. Because again, like we're crushing and like this looks great too, right? Like I like this too, but I always kind of like having a raised look in my photos. I don't know, it's just something I've kind of always done and I just have always like super fucked with it. So yeah, I do also think like just like bringing it all the way down looks great too. I think it's just again, it's just one of those things, especially when you're photo editing and it's art, like it's you gotta just like it's your own preference, man. It's like whatever you want to do. So this is where kind of the magic sauce is with the color. So here, so obviously I just did this with anyways, here in this channel, we just have a little bit of we just add a little bit of magenta, and then here in this one, we just balance out with a little bit of what do you call it? Of yellow. So yeah, so that's really what we did here is we really just pulled down. It was so since I shot at 5600, it was so like this is such a warm photo already. If you remember the base, it's already such a warm photo. So I was really just bringing the coolness down a lot. And then here in our HSL, this is where we kind of get this is where we fine tune that colors a little bit, right? Like nothing too crazy or extravagant here, just kind of again like adjusting and fine tuning like what like how powerful each of the colors is in
this particular photo, and really just trying to get the skin tone back to like a comfortable place. Um, and then here we are in our and then in our color grading, this last little bit here. This is where we're really adding that last little final touches. Um, so really just like balancing out like the rest of like where I want this to be. So like again, like as a matter of preference, like I like this too. Like I think this looks good, but does here gets this a little bit more to where where I want it. Like it adds a little bit of punch to all of those areas that like it adds that little bit of punch to the coolness. It adds that little bit of punch to like I gets me some more just color back in the skin. Um, I just really like how this helps the overall vibe that I'm trying to curate for this image, which is this just warm, the just a pretty standard like orange teal look, but very much so leaning towards a warmer look, right? Um, but yeah, so that was that one. Um, I'll I'll go a little bit quicker on these ones, of course, because we kind of already went through the bulk of it. So again, really like this is another one I really like. Again, I really like how the grain is being rendered. Um, the for this one, yeah, I'll just go back up here. So for this one, same deal. It's the same lighting. So it's pretty much same white balance, everything else. Same deal with shadows and blacks and doing it that way. Um, my curve, I think it was the same for all of these. I don't think I really messed with that much. For this set, I think I just kept it consistent. Now for this, it's a very different. I went a little bit more custom with the curve. So the trick here, and because I've seen people do some crazy fucking curves with this that I still don't understand like how their photo doesn't look terrible. But the when you look at this grid, this you have to understand that this is no different than like it's no different than your histogram, right? So when you go here, I think this is the best way to visualize it is if you don't really understand like each of these lines, right? This grid, this is your darks. It's like this is your darks, this is your shadows, this is your what is this? Mids? Your lights. This is your lights. This is your high, and then this is your highlights, right? So this is your highlights, this is your lights, this is your darks, and this is your shadows. Oh, okay. They have it. That's weird. Anyways, um, right? So you have this explains exactly to where, your which areas of the image you're affecting in this page, right? So when I'm here, it's like, okay, I'm affecting my darkest. I'm cool. And then like again, this is a little, it doesn't have to be perfect like on each grid line, but especially when you're here, when you're trying to figure out color, I play a little bit more on the lines, right? Because I really want to be precise, which, quote unquote precise with where I'm affecting the images. So I know if I put a point here and anchor my point here and here, that, if I decide to go do this, right? Like, again, like I don't have this anchored. So, but if I go like this, right? Like it's going to have, it's going to affect, you know, more of the shadows of my image, right? The darks of my image, right? So yeah, so this is what this one looks like, and then this one's a little bit different. Again, like I didn't go anything crazy. I was just trying to balance out the little parts that I wanted, but also still give it that like tone and look that I was going for. Just take some time, and just take some time. And what's great is like you can click on this, you can click on the dot, and you can just adjust them. You can use your arrow keys to adjust these, right? Yeah, you can just click on the dot and adjust these, and it's great. Makes it super easy to be granular with it. And then same here. This I was really trying to like I was trying to really get that coolness in the highlights. So that's what I did here. Like I was trying to cool off the midtones as well. Just overall, I wanted this to be a cooler look, right? And we accomplished a lot of that within this channel. Like look at how like this is where all of the heavy lifting is being done is in my tone curve, man. All of the heavy lifting is being done in my tone curve. So um, again, now here's HSL, very like, nothing too crazy, very similar. Um, all good there. Again, just trying to fine tune those colors. And then I think we had a pretty similar color grade on these. Let me look. Yeah, it was the same color grade. What do you call it? We just adjusted the curves. So Again, man, like like the possibilities for photos and like or like looks, right? It's just endless, man. It's just like you can do so many different things, man. And so it's just like it's just a matter of just playing around and like messing with it and trying to like find something that you like mess with, that you vibe with, right? So even though these last ones aren't really implicative of the whole set, it's same like the same color grade, so same color grade. Again, like pretty similar here, just like adjusting the tones a little bit. But here we have a very like mild, we just have very mild color correction. I think this actually used the same. I think this was actually the same grade as this one, if I'm not mistaken. I just have a different white balance, and I have a different white balance, and I think I adjusted this a little bit differently, but yeah, so it's pretty much the same. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that was kind of just a little walkthrough of like how I kind of did this set. Um, Nothing like too much crazier than that, but that's kind of what I'm saying is like I'm pulling pretty much every lever, um, with when I'm like editing my photos, man. Yeah, like you can just be really creative. So yeah, that was just a little bit of my process and how I go through it. I didn't something I didn't even actually like mention is this tab here. I didn't do it on this one, but I mess with these profiles too. Like the instead of just doing the Adobe, I use some of the vintage ones sometimes too. They're just like great starting points in my opinion. But yeah, man, just like um there's no rules. You do whatever you want, create whatever you want, like mess with it, but also there is a technical side that you need to like understand and learn about your editing program if you want to get the maximum out of it. Like everyone's so afraid of the curves, but like it literally like it literally explains to you like how the curves work. It's like this part of it affects your shadows. This it's like, this part of the grid affects your shadows, this part affects your darks, this part affects your lights, this part affects your highlights, right? Like, and it's the same over here when you're messing with these points. It's just you have to be patient and you have to be granular. You have to also understand like this is a warm image. Let's say I just perfectly white balance it, right? If I add blue, right, I'm adding blue or cyan, and then I'm adding pink. And when that or more, let's say like kind of blue and red. So I'm starting to get more of a purple color. That's how we get that deep like blue purple color. And then if I add yellow in, all it's gonna do is go back to white, which is why it balances out. So again, it's like I'm adding a bunch of blue here, right? So I add a bunch of blue here. I add a little bit of green. I add a little bit of green, right? And then here we have blue too. It's so warm. It's like I'm pretty much just making my highlights cool, right? It's just like, yeah, there's just like so many different ways to play, but it's just understanding like and you just get better at it over time from like doing it so much. And there's only like so many different color combinations, right? That you're really gonna like tackle. One, you're playing off of like what the actual image already is. Like this is so neutral, right? So I'm able to like do a lot with it, right? I'm able to go in really any direction I want to color wise. But you're not always gonna be able to do that. Like there's a bunch of different colors in this photo, right? Like this probably looks like I haven't thrown this on this preset on like a photo outside, but it probably looks horrible, right? And um, so yeah, so just don't be afraid to try stuff. And just like really like pay attention, like just be intentional when you're messing with stuff and like really pay attention to like what it is that you're manipulating. Cause like that tool is so powerful and so many people like don't utilize it. They'll just over, crank all of the color grading panels wheels every time that they do it instead of like messing with the curve, which does allow you to be granular and very specific with like where you want to affect the image and like how and how you do it too, because it doesn't like the color grading just throws color over the top. The curves adds color through like the actual contrast of the image, so it's actually affecting the contrast. That's why if you like when you mess with all of those, you're actually affecting the contrast. That's why your darks get the way they are if you keep pulling them down. Like if I keep pulling this pulling this way, pulling all of these this way, like here, fuck it, I'll just do it real quick. If I keep pulling all of these this way, like it's gonna keep making my image darker and darker because it's affecting the actual contrast. It's affecting the actual contrast of the image. It's the actual RGB channels of the image, and it's when you do that, when you're changing the color here, you're affecting actual color like you're affecting the contrast of the red channel, right? And so you're actually so that's what you're doing when you're messing with the curves. That's why it doesn't do the same thing when you're messing with the color grading down here, because this color is just like it's affecting, it's affecting your shadows, your highlights, and your tones. It's selective, right? But it's just throwing color over, like, on top of that area of the image, if that makes sense. It's just it's like, I don't know how else to say it besides, it's like it's putting it like a blanket, whereas like this is like, it's like this is like putting like a blanket on top of it, like on top of the image, whereas like this is like changing the color of the threads in the blanket. I hope that made sense. I don't even know if that was technically accurate, but that's what we're going with. Anyways, there we go. That's a little walkthrough. That was way longer than I was going through, but I don't know how to stop talking, basically. So I hope that was helpful. And yeah, I'll try to keep doing other BTS and breakdowns that are like this, and hopefully not as long. Anyways, peace. Thanks for watching.
You are.